Welcome to She Made Me Crochet's video on how to create a foundation row. So you will have already watched or learned how to create your slip knot in another video or a class, and you're ready now to create a foundation row. So a foundation row is a row of chains where the first row of your pattern will be worked. When you learned how to do your slip knot, you learned how to get your yarn on your crochet hook. You did that by taking the tail and putting it over the top of your left hand and taking your working yarn and bringing it up and over your index finger to create the X. You lifted the tail yarn, reached under with your hook, and up and around, and then tugged, and you got your slip knot on your hook. You made sure it wasn't too tight or too loose so that you could create your foundation row. If we move the tail out of the way, now we're going to go ahead and create a row of chains. So your working yarn is in your left hand. Your tail is in your right. For the first one, transfer that tail to your left hand. And you're going to yarn over your hook. Make sure it gets caught under the tip of the hook. And pull through. And then lift back up. And you'll have created your first chain. It looks like a V. Let's do that again. So if you notice, I'm holding that chain in my hand so that I get some tension. I yarn over my hook with my working yarn, catch it in the head, and pull through. Now I have two chains. Let's do that again. Hold the chains, yarn over with your working yarn, catch it with your hook, and pull through. Now I have three chains. Let's do two more. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. A couple of things to notice. So you have 5 chains in your foundation row right now. How do you identify those? They look like V's. See? Your knot is just a line across. Then you have a V. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? Keep going and put the number of chains that you need for your pattern into your foundation row, or go ahead with me and take all of this off, because practice makes us improve. Get rid of the slip knot and start over again. So we yarn over, bring our working yarn up and over our index finger to make a crisscross or an X. Reach under with our hook, pull up and through and tug so that we have yarn on our hook. Not too tight, not too loose, because you want to work chains. Hold that tail in your right hand rather, for just a moment to get yourself started. Then bring it over to your left hand. Yarn over, pull through. There's one. Yarn over, pull through. There's 2. Yarn over, pull through. That's 3. Yarn over, pull through, that's 4. Yarn over, pull through, that's 5. I'm just going to keep going. 6, 7, whoops, 8, 9, and 10. So I have 10 chains on my foundation row. If you're using this as a refresher to create your foundation row, and if you're going off now to begin the first row of your project, the only thing I want to remind you is that in this particular video, I made my tail awfully small. When you have a project that you're working on, that tail is eventually going to get woven in to your project at the end of it. So you probably want a tail that's, call it 5 inches, anywhere between 3 and 5 inches long, because when you weave it in to your project, you want to make it, especially if it's something like a blanket or a square, you want to make it so that it's long enough that it is actually worked in to the project and won't have a tendency to come loose or be pulled out. I will show that in other videos, but just a heads up to anybody who's using this, creating a foundation row video, just to get started and move on to something else. So there's your foundation row. You're now ready to move on to a pattern or to the video that I've created that is working a row of single crochets into your foundation row.